For the meeting of July 15, 2021, calling to order here at 4:02 p.m. The next business meeting will be Thursday, August 5th, 2021 at 12 p.m., 111 North Front Street, second floor, room 204. The next hearing will be Thursday, August 19th, 2021, 4 p.m., 111 North Front Street, second floor, room 204. Swearing in of the staff. Connie, can you state your name and position for the record?
Oakwood, Assistant Historic Preservation Officer.
And do you swear to tell the truth in your testimony this afternoon? Thank you. Introduction of commissioners here and present, starting on my right.
Hi, I'm Stuart Givney.
I am Joseph McCabe there.
And I'm Clyde Henry.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the public forum this afternoon, which do not believe we have anything.
No public forum today.
Confirming no public forum. Moving onward to agenda item number 2, approval of the staff approvals.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the staff approvals.
Is there a second? Wonderful. Hearing a motion and a second, call the vote here if there's any discussion. Discussion. Okay. Clyde Henry,
Aye.
Justin Kidd, yes. Aye. Stuart Givney, yes. Motion passes unanimously. By the way, just for point of order, because we're back in person, do we have to do individual votes?
I don't think so.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
That's something I'll clarify. The city attorney is here. What do you think?
If you want to call the roll, can not give it.
Thank you.
Thank you. I know what you don't like it.
Wonderful. Okay, with that being done, I'm moving on to the approval of the minutes from the last meeting, June 17th, 2021.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the minutes of the June 17th, 2021 meeting.
Okay, motion by Clyde Henry. Is there a second? Second by Stuart Givney. Discussion. Hearing no discussion, I will move to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those, no opposed and no abstentions. That's the June 17th meeting have been approved. Moving on to the staff reports. Applications for certificates of appropriateness.
Okay, so number 1765, Bride Road for landscaping was moved to staff approval at the business meeting, so will not be attending. Number 2, I don't see anyone here yet for that one, so can we put that aside?
We can put that aside and we'll come back to that.
Number 3, 2105031, 789 Annual Place did not submit revised materials for this meeting, so that would need to be continued.
Okay, and Connie, do you feel that the applicant will make best effort to continue?
I have a feeling that they won't. If that does not happen because they don't communicate with me, we'll just remove it from the agenda. I will just remove it and it would just still do the code enforcement process.
Okay, and, okay, we will then, do I hear a motion to continue?
So moved.
Motion by Stuart Givney, is there a second?
I second.
Second, Clyde Henry. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes to continue that case.
Number 4, 880 East Broad Street. I do expect them to come back next month with revised drawings for revisions to the garage. We need to have that continuation for that too.
Okay, wonderful. In this case, do I hear a motion to continue?
So moved. I second.
Wonderful. Hearing a motion in a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any abstentions? Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Case number 5.
Number 5, 699 Oakwood Avenue. This one, I actually was out in the field yesterday looking at another property and noticed some work going on here. And I stopped to talk with them and I noticed an aluminum wrap machine. And so I started to talk to the workers and so they were installing vinyl windows.
Oh,
And so I spoke to the the TMK real estate, and then met them out there yesterday. We had Mondays and stuff. So I think there was just a miscommunication. And because they had sent me the fellow architect reserve before, and so that is what they're going to do. They're going to remove any wrap that was put on a couple days ago. They're going to remove those vinyl windows and use the fellow architect reserve windows that were approved. And as far as this particular case that they withdrew, as I told you before, they really understood that removing or covering over the door opening, the store door opening, it does not meet guidelines. So they'll retain the door opening and door hood, and they will put a 15-line door in there, which we know was there because of the photos. It wasn't existing. But they would like to remove the steps, concrete steps, just so that it's known it's not a working, functioning door.
Is that something that will come through to you with the staff?
I think I just do that as a staff approval. If you don't have any objections to that.
I would not object to that. The steps look like they were like concrete stuff that was probably added later. Weren't they kind of sinking in a little bit?
Yes, they're a little bit removed from the building.
Look like one of those drop and go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that. That would allow them to put a railing on the inside. If you have like a French door or a French button.
Yeah,
If they want to, it'd be on the inside, so.
Yeah. exactly. Well, I think they're rolling it over actually.
Oh, okay.
And in this case, it's a withdrawal of the application. So how do you deal with the certificate of appropriateness for your file?
In our files, we just note on the application because everything's digital now, withdrawn, capital letters.
Okay.
And then I will go on to, have them submit another application
Okay. Perfect.
to install the door and remove the steps.
Great.
So, and I've already told them he needs to do that.
And we don't need to take any motion because the application is
Exactly.
withdrawn.
No action is required.
Wonderful. Case number 6.
Do you want a 353 East Oakwood? No, this application was continued from June, that they did not submit any revised material. So this would need to be continued. And this would be the same situation. If they do not communicate with me, they do not submit additional information, I'll just remove it and it'll go through the code process.
Wonderful. Thank you. Do I hear a motion to continue?
So, I second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none.
That's unfortunate though. We talked to Braden about a few details this could have done.
I would agree.
Too bad. Aye.
I'll call the vote. All in
Aye.
favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstention? Motion passes unanimously.
This may be the quickest meeting either.
I'll tell you.
Case number 7.
You get it.
HR 2106-020, 380 East Town Street. This was for the new roof deck, and windows for repair had been approved last month.
Understand.
Yeah, and so this application meets guidelines for roof installations and was moved to staff approval at the July 1st HRC business meeting. That's for the roof deck. And a COA has been issued by me combined with downtown because it's downtown. So no action is required on that.
Great. Moving on to section 3, new applications of our agenda. And then I will, in the case of HR-2107016A, 611 Oakwood Avenue, do we have anybody here this evening?
Yeah.
Come up.
Get the break in the house here, huh?
There you go.
NRTC might go up nicely.
We will start off with having you state your name, affiliation with the property for the record, and then I will swear each of you in. So start with your names, affiliation with the property.
I'm Suzanne Deal and I am an owner.
Patrick Deal, owner.
Wonderful. Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth in your testimony before the commission this afternoon?
I do.
Yes.
Thank you. Hi.
Okay, so, this particular application is for the front porch, rear extension, none of the rear extensions, new dormers and new window opening. Oh, sorry, that's a mistake. No new window. Except for they will be on the new rear addition. So this application was conceptually reviewed in June. Disassembly of the front porch, demolition of rear extensions, foundation and rear wall repairs, and removal of concrete steps and walkway were removed to staff approval at the July 1st business meeting. And that you can see this on page 11 of the agenda. The COA that was issued. New windows, box gutter repair, and sidewalk replacement will also be staff approved separately. Staff has conducted 2 interior and exterior site visits. Comparison of foundation materials indicates that the extension on the south end of the rear elevation consists of a shallow original section, perhaps a pantry, and a historic but deteriorated extension to that original section. The existing porch on the north end of the rear elevation consists of interior grade beadboard on the interior and exterior, indicating that it was originally protected by an open porch. Left unprotected, the existing porch has deteriorated. In addition, west, which is the rear wall of the main block of the house, is sagging due to failure of the foundation. Oakwood craftsman style door appears appropriate for this transition layout, but should include clear glass. The light fixture has a colonial appearance and should be reconsidered. The other proposed materials and exterior paint colors appear appropriate. And so I apologize, I did, instead of where it says new window openings, it should just basically refer to building the new 2-story frame.
For the applicants, do you guys have anything additional to add?
No, I mean, it's a great project. I appreciate Connie coming out a couple times to help us through the site discussion and conceptual review. That's very, very helpful for all of our purposes. The original siding is existing are there, and we'd like to get back to that. As far as the foundation issues, those are still being reviewed on multiple contractors' scopes of work because they're so pervasive. So we're looking at that as far as just how much we are going to need to get down to bare bones. So that's potentially a problem there. But as far as other things to add, I'd love to hear feedback on the roofs and addition and all that good stuff. So.
I'll first refer to the Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when we first looked at this, and it's certainly come a long way, and I think it's fine. The dormer where you join the 2 dormers, it's on the side of the house. It's not a primary facade, and I think it'll look okay from the street. You won't see much of it, just kind of look like similar to the front one. The addition on the back just seems, doesn't particularly draw attention to itself. It's just sort of a simple addition. I think fits nicely with the rest of the house. So, okay.
Stuart?
I'm pretty much along the idea of Commissioner Henry. We don't have a site photo of the elevation where this is going.
Do you have a photo of your phone?
An actual photo of memory.
Oh, like from a Google map kind of thing? Thought I put one.
there's the front and the rear.
Right.
One side you really can't, south side you can't.
Yes.
You can't do that.
Yeah. There's about 5 feet between that.
What side is this going again?
The right-hand photo up there is the side facing the city, so that's a west side. And then the front side of the house is the east side, and the dormers would be on the north side.
Yeah. And the north side faces Newberry.
So that's to the right of this, top right of this right.
I think right and left of each.
Mhm.
Yeah, it would be on both
Yes.
sides.
So they, one will face the street. Also basically face.
So interesting thing, noticing some other like teens built, and I don't know what year this, but some of the other homes from 1900 to 1910, when they needed these kind of longer dormer arrangements, or they had some sort of access window on top, it either was addressed through sort of just a sloped shed kind of piece, or it even followed these sort of, you'd have that dormer line, but then what was on top was just a small piece of flattened roof. I've actually seen it on a few of those properties. I don't know if that's, how do you feel about the roof lines on? I mean, it kind of looks like two dormers joined together by a quasi.
The interesting part is it keeps the massing down. For the current configuration, that was the only thing I thought was kind of interesting. As long as it's relatively in the same visual eye plane as the other original dormers, so the roof line is very similar to the cap line of the front original.
Yeah,
Yep, that's the plan to keep.
I mean, keep it all the same, so that way it looks like it's supposed to be there instead of.
Yeah.
correct.
I think a shed dormer is very unusual. Yeah, especially the long ones, like you see that they put on some of the houses in Permanent Village.
Yes. Very.
That's okay.
That's just like a mansard type of a thing, I think. Could look like a sixties mansard, we did that. This is a little different, I agree, but it's not out of character different. And I do agree with the comment about the door and the light fixtures,
And we,
more 1890s. And the door is probably a little too fancy with the fancy glass in there. But otherwise, I think the door, I think is fine. But yeah, light fixture is something a little bit more simple to kind of go with that.
Just
Compared to the 1890s.
do we have measurements of, I see the proposed evaluation or proposed elevations. Is there a set of drawings that actually show the sizes of those dormers, like height?
Yes, I have them. I don't know if I submitted the actual specs on this document. I do have it.
Yeah, it's in a different document, but
We would certainly want that for file.
Mhm.
Sure.
probably would need that to be, for your building permit.
Yep.
Right.
So with some amendments to light fixture and the door.
I think the doors for light fixture proposed is a little more like 1890-ish. By this time, I don't think they do this kind of flat. Yes, I mean, it's not terribly, but I think it could be some.
And I think the infill of the glass, the door is a little too craftsman, but
Mhm.
We should just
yeah,
Glass.
yeah, that's for the overall shape.
yeah.
It is sort of transitional. Honestly.
Yeah.
It doesn't clearly fit into any.
And when we have these corner dormers with the scallop shape, will there also be corner trims? Kind of
And
shallow.
it's not shown on that like corner board.
I guess there is on
Oh, yeah.
some, but maybe
Mhm.
not all of the drawings.
If you scroll down a little bit, it does call it out. Not me, yeah, too far.
There you go.
Right there, yeah.
Yeah.
Last page of the file.
Oh, goodness.
What did you conclude about after sales? Are they just, are you gonna put them back? Sort of
They're more,
the brackets?
they're not really exposed for aftertails, right?
Right, they're literally 4x4.
Stick 'em.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so,
Previous ones.
Well, but
You haven't really determined what was there. Something like-
so the houses of like the Bright Road Historic District have that, they have them just like they go around the dorm room, they do go around the gutter line, and they're just brackets that were added.
Really? They don't have, well, the neighbor has some apparently on
Yeah.
the second story dormer as well. Is there, did they appear to be old? Are they?
No. They were replaced they were installed by the previous.
yeah, the current ones that are out there are just 4x4 posts that were just bandsawed into a design.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But we need to find, I'll look at, again, the file, I think I've done this. Let's look at the file, we can see if we have older photos to show what was there a long time ago. I think they want to,
Mhm.
you know, restore
Replicate
it,
what it was
whatever,
there.
yeah.
Yeah, we want to do it right.
Makes sense. An action item. Okay. Is this
This is it, correct?
Mhm.
all right, so we have, so we need a few more items, perhaps some additional changes to the light fixture, which staff can help with. The door, apparently, we can make that in the new application. But I think really there, I mean, it's a substantial project. I'd like to have enough time to get it in there and get going with what you need to do, so put together the proposal. So this is HR-21-07-061-611 Oakwood Avenue. I move to approve the application as submitted with the few minor changes of evaluating the current condition of historical detail moldings that may or may not have existed in the eve areas. To reevaluate the lighting fixtures and the door infill details in association with staff.
So all three of those items will be staff approved.
We'll come back here. Okay, I will second that.
Wonderful. There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? To the applicant, are you guys okay with the amendments or the provisions here, the conditions?
Absolutely.
Well, I'll call for a vote here. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Abstentions? Motion passes unanimously. Any questions?
Nope.
Just work with Connie to finish. You can finish it off.
Awesome.
Will do.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thanks for coming in.
I think you're gonna do a good project.
Thanks.
Well done.
Thank you.
Wonderful. We're on to case HR 21-07 012 504 North Park Street. Is the applicant here today? You could come up and, see. If you could start with giving us your full name for the record and your affiliation with the property or the project.
Michelle Applebaum. I'm with Day Night Sign Company. We're doing the signage for them.
Wonderful. And if you could raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth in your testimony to the commission this afternoon?
Yes.
Thank you.
I need to recuse. I think the back corner of the property is too close to the back corner.
Okay, wonderful. For record, Clyde Henry is recused.
So at the business meeting, I believe was that just a projected sign was submitted. And the commission stated that, you know, they would need to see an entire sign package. We also discussed that the existing sign was installed and approved prior to the commission adopting short-run design guidelines for signage. So it was larger than that is allowed now. So we've been working back and forth a few times. And I think the package is appropriate now. It's all the guidelines. The new projecting sign has been reduced to about 11.39 square feet. The new wall sign, approximately 20 square feet, and then the two the two black umbrella awnings. As I was saying, the previous projecting sign was approved prior to HRC adapting the short design guidelines. In coordination with the HPO staff, revised drawings have been submitted, including projecting sign and wall sign that comply with maximum square footage and the allowed types of lighting. Discussion is needed regarding the ability of the projecting sign to change colors for certain holidays or special occasions. When changed, my understanding is that the color is to remain constant, not change repeatedly, flash, or strobe. So recommend approval of the application as submitted, specifying that when the light color of the projecting sign is changed for a holiday or special occasion, the color is to remain static and not change, flash, or strobe.
Wonderful, thank you. What do you have to add anything as the applicant?
No, I mean, we made the changes, you know, to comply with the requirements, and personally, I think it's great looking signage.
The last thing was that they did have wall sign the next, the orange moon was going to be a facelift, and that's not allowed. So as you can see now, they changed it, so it will just be a neon green there instead.
And explain to me which part of the sign changes color.
Just on the projecting sign, if you go back to the, yes, that one, just the letters that say howl at the moon that are currently white. So like for St. Patrick's Day, they might be green, Valentine's Day, they might be red, that kind of thing.
Thoughts?
I'm kind of curious as to the neon live music will be above the larger wall sign, which I think is kind of neat. I like that idea. Tell me the connection between live music and then white lettered live music on the,
Oh, on the awning?
yeah.
Well,
It's
live,
supposed to tell me that that's the door to come in, or what's the deal there?
yes, that is, because that is their main door. And live music is really their thing. You know, that's really how they promote themselves, the pianos.
And actually, I had noticed that it was still there, because we did have a little bit of a discussion that the guidelines basically say that it should be something like a logo or the street number, and that's basically it. Things like eat, drink, dance,
Right.
or saying how like the moon
Sure is.
should not be. So I would actually support that.
What, well, the building has 504 right beside it.
Right.
And I like the idea of having something there to get your attention. I'm not sure live music is the right thing to get your attention. Any other suggestions of what may be equally as successful in the goal, but yet fit into maybe what we discussed?
No, not offhand. I'd have to talk to the president of Howl USA, who he's in Chicago, but that was his thought, was to put live music on the awning because that is kind of their slogan, I guess, that they use. So offhand, I don't have a second idea.
Well, how about this? I mean, most of it looks really good. I think we're all pretty much kind of in the same boat. What if we carve that piece out for a staff approval? And then they can work on the details. Get this thing going. Or would you rather a different?
No, I think that's fine. And I don't have the guidelines with me. I should have brought up the short design guidelines with me, but something like that might be something that might be more appropriate to put on the door.
Just. I mean, you can resolve it relatively close.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be fairly simple. It may not be exactly what they want, but I would, you know.
I think the other signage is a great improvement, so thank you. And I like that neon, I'm pretty sure I like that idea.
I think so too.
So they're allowed to put an emblem or a logo on the edge?
Yes.
So you could put like a little emblem of like
It's on the awning.
the actual like hollow or something on the edge. You know,
Yeah.
That's acceptable.
Yes. Yeah, you can do that.
It's-
piano keys, maybe put them in black and then that white halo sort of effect around the edges. I'm not sure, that might be kind of interesting.
on the awning, you mean?
Yeah, so I think if you just put the wolf, it'll be a little more.
Yeah, you won't be able to see
Yeah,
it.
exactly. So you're gonna
It's-
have to do, you have to stretch it out a little.
It's pretty small, yeah. So on the awning sign guidelines, it says, name, function, and or address of the business. What would function? I guess I'm not understanding the part that says function. I mean, wouldn't live music sort of be the function?
Well, again, I apologize because that's for signage and I need to have the awnings.
This is awning. This is the section that says awning sign guideline. It says graphics may include the name, function, and or address of the business.
I think that would
Addresses are not
be-
appropriate.
Yeah. Nice.
The other thing is that, if you're allowed, let's see. Each ground floor tenant space or building may have one projecting sign and either one wall sign or awning sign. So that's why the awnings they can't have power to move, because that would be considered a sign.
Okay.
So I think read that again. Function.
It says, graphics may include the name, function, and or address of the business.
That's if it's a sign. And you already have two other signs can. So I think either a logo or the address is all I can think. We could still work that through.
Okay.
Is comfortable with you working with Ron.
I am.
I don't know if that's, so in this case, I'll have to, make it mention like the second anyways. So I would also look at that as well.
In regards to HR -21 -07 -012 504 North Park Street, I move to approve as submitted with the exception of the balance main entrance live music graphic to be discussed with staff for final approval. Perfect.
I will second that. So having a motion, a second. Further discussion. From the applicant standpoint, you don't have any problem working that detail out, Connie?
No.
Yep. Like that in the record, so I will call it here. All those in favor say aye. Aye. No opposed, no abstentions. Motion passes. Thank you.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Thanks for changing. I think they look really good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. We got to HR 21-07-013, 724 Wilson Avenue. Is there anybody here this evening?
Yes.
Wonderful. You can come forward and approach the microphone. For record, state your name and affiliation to the property.
Tony Jenkins, owner.
Thank you. And Tony, if you could raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth in your testimony this afternoon before the commission?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Connie.
Okay, so what is, as it's on here, landscaping, the request to retain the existing landscaping features as installed, that actually may change, and I'll explain why. So this property currently has two outstanding code violations issued in April 2019. First, including areas of peeling and chipping paint, exposed bare wood, including but not limited to roof eaves, roof dormer, window trim, and porch roof eaves. And I'm just reading it from that order. Brick and masonry work visible on the exterior of the property is not in good sound or good condition. Foundation structure has mortar boards. The windows and doors on the exterior of the property are not in good and sound working conditions. The foundation walls and floor roof on this main structure are not in good conditions, nor are they watertight. Main roof has broken and missing tiles. Now, the second one is retaining walls and plantings installed in yard area with issued certificate of appropriateness, approving alterations to the yard area. after the business meeting discussion, in a discussion with code enforcement staff and housing staff, I have confirmed that this property is currently under review by housing for the lead abatement program, which Mr. Jenkins briefly discussed in the business meeting. Specifications for this program are reviewed by OHPO, but are also reviewed by the City Historic Preservation Office and the appropriate commission, being this commission in this case, when located within a locally designated historic district or when individually listed on the Columbus Register of Historic Properties. That abatement may include testing of soil samples in some areas of the property. Property may also include covering areas of yard to avoid soil contamination. So it's in the process. I have seen the initially issued specs, which includes things that this commission will not approve, such as putting vinyl siding over the eaves and things like that. So in a discussion, housing and my supervisor, James Goodman, there is an understanding that yes, now this does need to come to this commission or through that 600 staff approval for appropriate repairs to soffit, ceiling, porch ceiling, windows, and all of these things. But we just kind of have to wait to see how long the process of the abatement process goes. And as I said, the stone could be removed, but there may be testing of the soil. So doing any regrading or filling in at this time, I think would not really make sense.
Is there an idea of a timeline? What would normally be expected?
No, I don't.
Testing.
I just don't.
Any idea?
I don't know. I will try to, keep up on that, follow up.
That's the applicant been sworn.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any idea by chance?
August, they said in August it should start.
Okay, so we could continue this month and then visit it next month.
It might, well, yeah, that sounds good. So anyway, following discussion behind.
I would say instead of continuing for next month, I actually want to do it after August, so in September. Because they may be at the end of August. I'm not for sure if it's the beginning or the end. And when I talked to someone last, it may be at the further end of August. So September would be the better month to redo it. That way they're in the process of doing something.
The way it normally would work for us is at every month interval, we would either revisit it to continue or to make action. So in your case, that would come up anyway. That not necessarily that it would be action, we would take it into consideration at that time based on, evaluating the information of what's happened and the progress. So at least if we continue it this month, then that leaves the door open for next month to kind of evaluate.
Okay,
Does that sound reasonable?
yes.
So I just, obviously the proposal was to retain the existing landscape wall. In this case, because we know that the wall is not conforming, we generally not approve such walls.
Yeah.
We know you may have additional other things to come before the commission regarding repairs. Is there right now at this point between you and Connie understanding that you will need to remove the wall that should be code compliant?
No one's ever said anything about the wall. And before, I'm gonna start, no one's ever said anything about the wall. And I've actually did about probably 30, 40 houses in the neighborhood. So the same, I don't know if it was complaints or anything of that nature. There's other yards that it's the whole entire yard is landscaped and there's walls. These are stacked walls in everybody else's yard. But since I have the biggest house and I've rented out to a retired pastor for the last 10 years that I refused to put out, let's put it that way. He's a retired Caucasian pastor. The house is empty for 8 years when my wife had it, and he got up to code. I can't put a man out that, and he's 80 years old now. So either he's going, COVID, God bless him, he made it through. So I keep my mouth shut. And, and I try my best to stay out the way of anything. I don't like to tell someone that could be my senior or grandfather, you need to do this. So I took it myself to make sure when I saw how the wall looked, because I didn't know that would be affected. I made sure that I put a tarp, cleaned up the whole entire tire, and two of my children, and I have seven altogether, and they're all in private school. We all came over there and made sure we cleaned it up. So, you know, when we were going to live in the property, we did all this. But then at the time, another baby. And so we moved to Bexley on Broad Street. And I just said, but I refused to sell the home. And I guess people are pushing me to sell, especially since my neighbor Dave next door just sold and got 332 undone. And his house is 2,700 square feet, and mine is about 4,600 square feet. It's not on paper, but it says 2,795. I let it say just like it is. But it may change because of the the lead abatement. But I'm not for sure. But I don't want to tell him anything. I'm trying my best not to. He's 80, and if I can keep it, I did all that work, and me and my wife did all that work, and we spent almost $47,000. No one was complaining when we did it. Everybody was asking me to help them with their yards.
That it required approval and did not get it. And if it had.
At that time, I think her name was Sue Carpenter. And I was doing it when no one said anything to me. And
How long ago was it done?
it's been done probably about 11, 12 years now. And Sue Carpenter was there because I had a house on Champion.
Okay, so that stonework that we're seeing was 11 or 12 years ago?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and it's been a historical district how long?
I never double check, but I think it's 90, but I think I've looked and it's somewhere between 2011 and 2014, if you look at Google.
Okay, so it's been a historical district for at least 30 years, so that would have been, there is a possibility that there are areas on the street that were done prior to becoming a historical district 30 years ago. And therefore, those end up being grandfathered in.
What do you mean by the stone, or are you talking about the landscaping?
The stone, the stone.
Well, see, if you look down just right there, there's a stone wall right there. And so it was there previously. If you look.
It was like 30 years ago?
Yes, sir, it was there.
Okay.
Wall, historic wall on this side.
And then straight across the street from me too. And so that's why I never thought it was a problem. And then when I was.
Those were in place more than 30 years ago.
And then there's two that were not in place. That's on there too.
Okay, then if you would report them.
I don't do that.
We will have those.
So the unfortunate issue is we can only rule by the guidelines. It's nothing personal against you, it's nothing personal against the tenant, it's nothing, and there's a definition for hardship of code. And if you don't meet the definition of hardship of the code, we can only rule on the code, what's in those guidelines. We have to make our decisions based on the guidelines.
Okay.
It is not that we're not negating the fact of the tenant potentially.
And see, I made sure that the wall wasn't that high. See, you see what I'm saying? Each wall, they weren't that high. So I made sure that it was
We're not arguing about whether it looks nice or not. Right. Yeah, looks nice. The workmanship looks wonderful.
Down a little further. If you go a little further, you'll see it.
It just doesn't meet building code.
So basically, see, they have a wall too. If you come down, there's another big mansion, and they have a wall, but it's not all the way down. It's just midway up, right there. You see it? It wasn't there. My grandmother lived behind that house. It wasn't there. I had my grandmother's house for a little while too, and I sold it.
I have it. It's actually in your material.
Yeah, it's in the material. Here it is.
In 2011, there was no one.
Page 7 of 15.
So you got 2009. So
that was 11 years ago. It wasn't there. And it looks like in 2011 started the other part. By 2014. So
I was even on a garden tour. Right.
We can't consider those things unfortunately when we're decisions.
I understand.
Facts of it.
So basically you're asking, basically, if it comes down to it, you're only asking me to remove the brick, not the landscaping.
So any substantial landscape change.
Because if you go down that same street, once you go down that same street, the whole entire yard is just like mine.
The landscaping has been.
Huh? Yes, for the simple fact they are in their 80s and 70s. And I realized that it was becoming a problem. And I know that's one of the problems that they were having with me for the simple fact I was not over there on the,
Maintain that.
and so I said, let me just, the best way to do is take it away and just mulch. And then if I remove back, I can actually do what I want to do. But right now, let me just mulch because it's a lot, it was a lot. I know.
In an ideal world, the stone would be removed, it would be regraded and reseeded. That's the ideal world from this perspective. Just to put that out there, I think that's kind of what we're getting at as far as what would be within compliance.
So what I'm asking,
Short to the 2009.
When we look at the front of the house, as it was in 09, that's a documented image of it after it was a historic district and its conditions prior to really, again, nothing against what you did. We understand you bought the property, you had tenants or you have cared for the property, but it was still something.
no, I didn't care, I didn't care for like it should be.
But, work was done that was not permitted, and unfortunately, this site falls in a non-permitted sphere.
So all I'm asking is this. If you go down further, I can't remember the address, but their whole entire front yard,
So,
Case by case.
yeah, so we do have case by case. There actually are other outstanding wall cases.
not walls. I'm not talking about the walls, because if I remove the walls, would I have to remove the landscaping?
They really should not have front lawns of mulch. That's not historic.
Yeah, because it's the whole entire front yard, and that's like probably 6 or 7 yards that's throughout the old oaks.
In, according to.
I don't,
Or, may come in to the code officer.
They're actually on they're actually on the old oaks store board, so that's why I'm not understanding. If it makes sense, they're on the board.
Yeah, what's in front of them now,
We don't know who obviously filed the complaint or.
Oh, I know who did it. Actually, it was the code lady. The code lady, actually. I didn't know. I have diabetes and my wife has myasthenia gravis. So she never had a problem, and she's been the code lady for a very long time, about 5, 6, 7 years. She was actually very in agreement with me, and I didn't realize that she was going through some lady issues, and I'm a high functioning autistic. So when she was gaining weight, I made a comment and I said, what's going on? But she didn't know that I was having health issues as well as my wife. And I was telling her something that could possibly help her. Well, she took offense to it. She felt like I was calling her. And I was not. And so she actually found, no, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the reason it started. He said he didn't know, so I'm letting him know why it started. And she actually confronted it in court. No. She didn't do it until after. And she said it in court. And she hasn't came back any more since. She hasn't been bothering me no more since. Since she opened her mouth and she said what she said. I said, oh, you haven't said nothing now.
How about this? Why don't we continue it and then let's take a look at what happens and how the abatement goes, and then we'll see how we can go from there. That sound fair?
Yes.
In respect to application number 10, HR-21-07-013-724 Wilson, I would like to continue that to the next HRC meeting, which is August 19th, 2021, the same room that we're in today at 4 p.m.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I will second it.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. No opposed, no abstentions, motion passes.
Thank you for coming in today and giving us.
Thank
your
you. And I didn't mean to.
feedback.
It's been there for 10 years, and so no one was complaining when it was beautiful. And it just bothers me. It just really, no one's complaining. When I did everybody else's yard, and I did 10 houses in the neighborhood, no one was complaining. They're complaining when they want me to sell. and I refuse to sell. Now they want me to tear a yard out. I'm not gonna do that either.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you, God bless you.
Number 11, 2107-014, 671 South Champion Avenue. This application has been withdrawn. Well, I'm not sure what they're going to do with the property, but they're just considering, I think they may sell it. I'm just not sure. But no work has been done on the property. So
That's too bad. Okay,
that's just withdrawn, no action required.
well,
310 House South High Street. I wonder if they have.
We don't have one for the earlier case as well. It was skipped over at this time.
Oh, it's the sidewalk.
It may be that I have received a timeline like a five
5 o'clock, it's not quite 5 o'clock.
can you take 5 minutes?
Yes, can we take 5 minutes?
5 minutes, yes.
Yes. Motion to recess for 5 minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, wonderful. Commission will recess for 5 minutes.
for
For the record, we'll officially recess at 4:53 PM and we'll reconvene at 4:58 PM.
And we are back unmuted. Check, check, check. Yep, all good.
Yeah, I'll turn.
Okay, reconvening the Historic Resources Commission meeting here at 5:01 PM. Okay, are you by chance here for 3 Out High?
We are.
Okay, wonderful. Well, if you want to come forward here, we're ready for you.
It's great time. It was good time.
Have a seat. For the record, each give us your names and your affiliation or association with the project.
Yes, I'm Deborah McLaughlin here with Design Collective. We are the architect of record, representing the owner, Magna Hospitality.
Okay, wonderful.
I'm Claire Kirk. I'm a project designer working on the project for Magna Hospitality.
Wonderful. And both of you can raise your right hands. Do you swear to tell the truth in your testimony before the commission this afternoon?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, Tony.
And it says, for outdoor seating, remove 3 existing awnings, paint existing patio railing and add string lights and lanterns. And also some signage to that. Additional exhaust and intake equipment, will be on the south wall also. Comments at the July 1st business meeting included, did the building have awnings originally? Signage on the railings is interesting, but should be removable, which I think it will be. And also a historic photo shows that the building originally had awnings across the High Street facade as well as upper floor windows. And I included back here. Awnings on the south, windows were the retractable type and open on the sides, whereas the other ones were closed on the side. Based on the photo, it would be more historically appropriate to retain this awning. A business is allowed 1 wall sign and either 1 projecting sign or awning signs. If you need, consider whether the 1 wall sign plus the 5 plaques on the railing would be equal to 6 wall signs. Those signs meet the short-term design guidelines in regard to materials, maximum square footage allowed, and lighting source. Shop drawings would be required for final approval. Proposed penetrations for venting are appropriately located and sewed up, and as to not affect historic fabric. Based on the photo, it would be more historically appropriate to retain the existing awnings. And actually, this is just kind of repeating what I just said. The proposed wall and projecting signs meet the short design guidelines. Recommend reducing the number of signs on the railings to 1 facing west and 1 facing south.
Okay, wonderful. The applicant, would you guys like that?
I think she covered everything very well, so we're happy to answer any questions at this point. It is planned that a new restaurant is going in that space, so that is what the changes are to support.
Mm-hmm.
Am I correct in understanding from the photograph here that there is currently a fence there that you're replacing?
It is not going to be replaced. The existing fence will remain. It is.
Okay, so you're just altering the existing fence.
Correct.
Okay.
The signage would be applied to that
Oh,
fence.
gotcha. So you're just doing some. I understand the concern about including the name on each of the sign pieces because then that sort of sets a precedent. The next person, while yours are pretty subtle, the next person may want, 8 neon signs going across, and so what was the difference, but at the same time, I also understand some idea of having some design on there. I don't know. I know we just had a discussion on logos on awnings as not being the same as names. I don't know if this restaurant has a particular logo, kind of looking at the pictures, it looked more like it just had a name.
Yes.
I don't know if they just did an initial that was sort of designed, would that be something that the commission would consider, or is that still too much like a?
My sort of theory on these kinds of things is if it was a true sign with the full name, it sort of has to meet the criteria, but when it's just like an insignia or emblem, it's just kind of a repeated pattern. I think that's part of the design in some ways. It starts to become just the decorative motif.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the
The
difference
pattern.
between, yeah.
You know, like if there were a, you know, a C or, you know, or a BC on that had, you know, maybe it even goes out of the margins a little bit or something that, you know, like some broken logo or something. I mean, I would be more open looking at that, and I think that would not set a precedent. And I think we did that once before for another location where they wanted part of a broken logo type of a thing on something that seemed like that was a little bit more. But otherwise, I think we'd be in trouble setting a precedent if we let it go.
Okay.
Okay.
So really, we're talking about we have the lit sign, we have the blade sign, and then some signage on the fence, right?
Yes. Yep, that's correct.
Correct.
Can you tell me where the backlit signs can go?
It's right next to the entry to the restaurant, the main entry from the street. So it is where the
Right there.
first smaller awning is. Yes, yes, exactly.
There is an existing sign there for the whiskey bar. So we're just replacing that with the new signage.
Is it the same size, do you know, or not? Or- I mean, this size is fine, but I just curious.
It's similar in size. It's right.
If anything, I think it's a little smaller.
Yeah.
But they wanted to make sure they met the guidelines.
Yeah.
So it's like 28, it's just gonna be 2 to 1, basically, length to width, so it'd be, that, the one that's existing is kind of square. So I have a different kind of aesthetic, but
Is it lit at all, the existing one?
I don't believe so.
the new one's not.
The new one is, but the existing.
The old one looks like it's just a flat.
And how does one get power to it? Then in this case, it looks like this thing's out on like a masonry pillar or pier. Is it any power to it would have to be, you know, can't be conduits, just sort of surface mounting or.
Right.
Right.
Right. It would have to be from behind somehow, or we'll have to see that.
I think we would have to get the details of that to make sure there's not a lot of penetrations into the masonry or whatever.
Mhm.
Kind of chipping away, I guess, at this thing, also sort of at a variety of levels, like, you know, I don't see any issues with the proposal for the exhausting on the alleyway. You,
No,
I think that's natural. You have to-
well, it's not natural, but it's necessary.
Right, well, it's what you have to do to just get a business.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So that's one piece we can kind of sort of push aside.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it may be on an infill area.
Yeah.
So
Yes, that's the plan, that it's on the infill brick. It's not touching the original.
Mhm.
There's a different coloration, so I wonder if that isn't original, that piece of that block that may have done something. See, I mean, that looks like it's all existing now, it's just like a denotation.
Or it was painted out or something.
For some, so it may be.
You're looking at the alley side?
We're looking at what applied. You might want to just look up the screen.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay. See how where the sign is there, it's painted a different color, and I'm wondering if that is to note that that's not original material. That, that when this project was approved way back when, that they were fixing something or replacing something that had been changed over time, and then someone said, well, lest it be mistaken for original material, we should paint it a different color, and now we're wondering if that's the case.
Because if you look at the opposing side, similar layout has the historical tag as well. It just
And,
doesn't have that paint.
yeah, and, or, you know, or is that just a shadow? Maybe that's a shadow, and I'm totally misinterpreting it.
It doesn't seem like paint would ever have been approved.
I
I think
mean,
it's a shadow. I hope it's a shadow.
okay, because I was gonna say if that was new material, then.
I think it's a bad paint job.
Like the actual shadow, like look at the trees, look at the lights. You can see
Have
the
to take a
shadow.
walk
Yeah.
down there and see.
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, you can see the shadow over the top of the
Oh,
color.
of it, yeah.
I don't think the painting of that would ever have been approved.
Right, so if, I mean, if that's not original material, then I would be more open to, okay, you can do a penetration in it. It's something that was done when the hotel was renovated, you know, back in the 80s or 70s, whatever it was.
So I would sort of even ask the question, is this sign that's sort of over there necessary? If you've got all these logos and signs on fences and got, you know, things in the windows, is that a key item you need?
I believe so because it directs you to the entrance to the restaurant versus the other entrances or doorways that are along that facade.
It wouldn't necessarily have to be lit, you could shine light onto it,
Correct,
or you could even investigate these days the battery
Mhm.
operated, because
correct.
these LEDs, the
Correct.
batteries last.
Yeah.
Right, solar lighting.
So,
And you can sleep right in the tree. So, I mean, so there may be other options for you,
yes,
or again, you do a little checking in, and if that's not original fabric, you know, sort of like drill away.
I was gonna say, I don't think we could stop them from coming in the backside anyways, truly, right?
Okay,
It's an interior thing.
it's an interior thing, but it penetrates the outside. I mean, that'd be the same argument as putting a window in.
Sure.
It starts from the inside. But this time probably has some bolts anyways to attach it, so there's some penetrations there already, so it's a little wired.
But I think that the chair's point, you know, conduit and all the extra stuff.
No.
you know, that would be-
Nothing.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, this would all be fed from behind, so all
I think we're
concealed.
gonna see shop drawings about how the recess for this thing is made, because I don't think we're looking for some giant surface mounted thing to occur on this column. I think that architecturally would be really inappropriate. So I
Okay.
think, you know,
The depth of design.
we need to understand how this thing is happening on the column.
Okay,
Okay.
Clean, narrow. And I think that's what your client wants anyway,
Mhm.
Mhm.
you know, just looking at the rest of the signage, it's.
Since it's only 2 inches deep, a lot going on.
Mhm.
2 inches, that's good. I mean, if it's all like, and it's bad, but that doesn't seem to be too bad, but.
Yeah. I could live with that.
I can live with 2 inches deep in surface mount, because then I don't feel like that's really a bad thing. In fact,
Mhm.
if it mounted to the way that it was a better drill hole to get power to it for me, then there's not, I mean, oh, a 3/4 inch conduit hole can be filled in later with the loss of historic fabric.
I agree.
Sign
I
goes
agree.
away.
I'd be good with it too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
That's-
so basically what we need to see is a detailed outline of what it's gonna look like. And then, would you be comfortable with step approval on that?
Let's see what we get.
And what about the other sign? Because the other sign, I actually, to be truthful, didn't notice. For some reason, there was a projecting sign, or else I would have asked for more detail.
Oh, on the blade side?
Although I think it meets the guidelines and everything, but
Yeah, it's not very
we
big.
just, it's not very clear drawing, like the shop drawings we would generally.
We just aren't to the point in the project where we have those shop drawings
That's-
done. So this is not proposed to be backlit though, so it would just be,
Mhm.
you know,
Well, that's
a couple of mounts into the,
Yeah.
And that's at a 45-degree angle?
yes,
Okay, that's what I assumed, but I didn't.
yes.
I think it's important that when we see your final shop drawings on this, I
Okay.
think it's important to understand again how this is mounted and attaches to the
Mhm.
masonry.
Mhm.
Fasteners should not go into brick, but should go into mortar joints.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, we have a note, I believe, on here, on this page actually, that no penetrations are to go through the existing masonry brick and everything to go through the mortar joints.
We've read part of this, that on our certificates many, many times.
Yes.
I just think we need to see a little bit more detail on this. Yeah, and actually, your fabricator should probably benefit from, I don't know what the brick sizing is on this building, because it's historic masonry, it may not be textbook 8 inches for every 3, so
Mhm.
go out there and measure what the mortar joint, actually the span is, because that may affect where they fabricate the little arms that go
Mhm.
back to.
Yep,
So it
absolutely.
looks like the blade size about 7.08 square feet. Unless I did a little back calculation, but which would be well within what we need.
Yeah.
Goes from the corner.
Okay.
I wonder, does that 72 put us in the previous bracketing area?
Again, just going back to like formal submission, final submission here. I see 2 different fonts here. So I don't know what the correct, again, we kind of have to really know what we're building.
Mhm. Okay.
Even the blade side, so the little one on the left is different.
Yeah, and, right. Interesting, good catch.
It's the same, it's different on that.
Yeah.
Must have had like bows and, stunning like that.
It's a concept, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It's a concept for a restaurant.
About these signs on the railings versus there's a lot of them signs, because now we've got blade signs, all along the entryway, then now we've got a couple signs, 1, 2, 3, 4 across the front. And 1 around. So there's 5 additional signs, so they're sort of like, we're looking at 7 signs on this thing total.
Right, they can't have them on the rail, they can have a design on there. They can even have an initial on there, or a C or something, like that design.
What's your thoughts on creating sort of an emblem or a logo sort of?
I think that can be done,
Mhm.
certainly.
They'd be open to
Absolutely.
that.
Mhm.
What about awnings and string lights? I feel like it's part of street liveliness. I get it. So
Yeah, I was gonna say the furniture is temporary and the lighting is temporary.
even the railing's temporary, it's not even historical.
Right. And I can see why they want to take the awnings off if they're gonna do the string light. And I guess I'm okay with that, because an awning, I mean, I realize that the awning was probably the historical thing, but again, it's cloth that they can come and go. And the street lighting, or the kind of the market lighting stuff is kind of a historic way of kind of, livening up the street and,
Right.
And make it more pleasant. I don't think we're violating anything. We're not removing any historical fabric. We're not doing anything to the neighborhood that would be detrimental. We're not doing anything that's unchangeable.
Mhm.
Bars come and go, and
Mhm.
I actually, in this case, if the awnings were like historical frames or historical awnings of some sort, I mean, these are clearly later awnings from a later building renovation. I don't think there's any loss of historic fabric. I think they'd be okay with
In fact-
loss of piece.
They were on practically every window.
And they were humongous. Look at those.
They're so big.
There's no light getting in there.
Yeah.
yeah, I think they were actually mounted at a different place. See, look, those are way up.
The current model, I think, is inside the framing.
And the,
Yeah, you're right. They were on the outside of the brick, not inside of the storefront.
right, and so if you look at the,
But based on the drawing real quick, I think you can keep the awnings and put the lights up. I mean, I don't think they're gonna impose your lighting plan. From what I see, it's not super detailed, other than it's
If you go to the photos,
the night 6 post.
go to, there's a page of photos that show you along the railing. You'll see how close, look over on the screen. Look at how close I don't know if you can really get the room in there to get the post and then get the string. And then once you're below it, you don't see the lights hanging over your head.
Well, the posts are gonna be further to the south, like that south corner, as far as I'm looking at the drawing. It's the west elevation,
yeah,
and it's, oh, they want to go all the way.
All the
across.
way.
I see, okay.
they want to go all the way up.
Yes.
Yeah, the posts match the existing railing posts.
So it's just an extension, basically.
I think it's fine, because again, that is not the location of the original awning. That was one that was redone back years ago. Yeah, they can be put back. There's not like, yeah.
If you have a place to save them, even.
Can we, as this applicant finalizes their submission, going to the next level, if you can submit your repair order specification for
Mhm.
brick joints,
Mhm.
that would be handy for staff to already then have, and that could be a staff like that may require a contractor and some sort of signage manufacturer.
Okay.
Really struggling
Trying to guide you on that.
Okay.
really struggling with removing those, honestly. When I look at the historical photo, I look at the balance of the building. And part of the architectural aesthetic is to try to scale some of that first floor down to make it more approachable. And then especially on that narrow street. So I wonder what the real effect is gonna be like, It's just a sheer flat surface all the way up.
But the lights are also at an angle.
Right, I feel like the
Especially at
lights
night.
on the angle may be enough.
Because it will almost form a canopy that kind of goes all the way around the corner, really making it almost like I don't want to say,
Pergola kind of thing.
yeah, and I think it'll give it almost like a street fair type of a,
It's gonna echo the line coming out.
yeah, kind of, I mean, it will ground that building to the street even more so, because it's a street level activity. And it's kind of nice it's done in that corner, because I think that kind of plays better, but,
So that is more, a little bit more informal than the hotel. Restaurant is a little bit.
yeah, and the theater's up at the other end. Yeah, and the entrance to the theater is such a wonderful kind of a facade that you don't really want a competition with it.
It's interesting because I'm just looking, I just did a quick Google search for real quick, just to see what else came up. And I'm looking at older images, there's additional older images online where those awnings were sort of rolled back completely, so you actually, in some cases,
Right, those ones on the end, they were retractable.
so you wouldn't have even seen anything once I wish I could share this image of what if you just Google Southern Hotel Columbus. Yeah, Southern Hotel Columbus, Ohio. And then just click on the images. Yes, so like look at this far right, let's scroll down here. Right here on the left. Yep, I mean, you can see some of those awnings are retracted back even on the right hand side. I think there's another image or two there that, like looking at this black one that was right next to that image. Goes back to your, yeah. I mean, even there's, you can see there's awning, then spot where it's been taken off, that awning, coming out from the corner. So there are instances where clearly the entire storefront did show at times.
What's new?
Yeah, there's a perfect, I mean, look, there's nothing even there. Maybe they have historical precedent for taking it down.
It is what the city has.
I mean, some of these images are pretty telling how the, buildings sort of changed a little bit as
Mhm.
life evolved.
Yeah, the one that was shown across the corner is not there anymore.
Right.
It's definitely a treasure.
Hmm?
So it's definitely a treasure.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I feel really comfortable looking at these images about actually having the lights removed.
Because these were even striped,
They also appear to be a little bit lower than the storefront in that image.
Right, they were raised and lowered.
So,
Most likely they were
so one thing.
method for sun.
Mhm.
Nice little lookout.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those seem to have disappeared really early on. Because you only ever see them in very earliest photographs. Or if they were wood.
It's a little scary, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, it's brick up and then
Mhm.
the little decorative pieces up on top. Could have been wood, who knows? I've
I
never looked at
thought
this.
Chip did down the street though.
Oh, this is the chicken. Okay, I'm sorry, it's the wrong one. But,
I was gonna say, I thought
but the southern had.
the southern had some additional detail. Cornerstone is gone.
Mhm.
On the corner, but didn't it have little roofs up there? I thought it had roofs. Or my,
There was a cornice line that is gone. I think that's an older.
I thought it had little roofs on the very, very, like the day that it opened. Maybe I'm wrong. If somebody moved.
So where are we, where are we over here? So are we currently, this is currently an acceptable package then that?
Well, you had marked, I double checked, you hadn't marked it as conceptual, but were you considering this to be conceptual?
Well, we understand we have to submit some more on the signage.
Yeah.
So that piece of it was.
Right.
The others, no, this was really our proposed solution here.
Mhm.
I think by the time we get all of the graphic, the lettering and the font, all
Mhm.
of this together as it should be, kind of more or less what we discussed.
So that the applicant possibly could go into other pieces of the scope, is there any value in improving the exhaust penetrations inside of the building?
Yeah, clear that.
Yes.
So somebody could break it to an A and a B, maybe we can continue the B, get the additional details and improve the exhaust setting.
Sure. HR hyphen 12, I'm sorry, HR hyphen 21 dash 07 hyphen 015 310 South High Street. A would be removing any of the infill material to install new ventilation and drafting systems on a non-primary facade of the building.
I'll second that.
Wonderful. Motion and a second, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
No opposed, no abstentions, motion passes.
The same application, letter B, would be for the rest of the application. I propose that we continue that to the August 19th, 2021 meeting at 4 o'clock in the same room.
Wonderful, that the applicant can submit additional materials here. And then we'll review our business meeting, and if there's anything, staff accordingly. So then there's a motion.
I will second it.
Wonderful. Discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. No opposition, no abstentions, motion passes. We proceeding on that portion of the agreement.
We look forward to
Great.
it too.
Okay, great. We will provide the.
Thank
the
you, guys.
updates. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
If you have any questions, you can always get Connie's feedback. If you need us to look at anything,
Mhm.
you can also, depending on how thorough the next package is.
Okay,
Okay,
that sounds great.
sounds great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And Connie, would you have to go back and continue that one that did not?
Yes, I guess to continue this deal. Why they were there.
What, is it?
It's the railings for the 1960s building.
Oh, yeah.
We voted down.
Too.
Well, they did actually submit revised drawings.
Yes, revising, and it will be metal, it will be custom built by Warren.
Connie, what do they look? Are they okay with you? I mean,
To me, to me it is because it's, the scale of it seems better. I don't think the commissioner was ever really too opposed to the scale of it anyway, except for the clunkiness of the wood.
mhm.
So now basically it is metal.
Like a frame.
This is an exact design. It is sporting design. And it will be on the metal post. Could you show the drawing?
I mean, I'm looking at all the elevations. Is there any wood at all now, or is it?
They're
Just the treads?
the main posts, and they'll paint them black,
Okay.
to match the black metal.
I mean, after going through all that metal, does it make sense to put wood posts? Metal seems like a lot more.
The steps are also wood, correct?
I think the
Better than
the tread.
Yeah, so it looks like they're mostly just doing the metal railing.
I think it's a million times better.
Yeah,
Maybe not
I
a
mean,
million, but
Yeah.
it's substantially better.
I think that the original comments were to make it sort of fade away at least, and I think this does fade away better.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know, I mean,
I think I could actually live with the package as sort of presented. I wish the applicant,
Well, do we want to go ahead on and do it real quick, or do we want to wait it out?
if you feel, I don't want you to do it if you don't
let's,
feel comfortable, but
let's just do it. I mean, it doesn't look very mid-century modern, but it looks minimally acceptable to me.
Well, they got rid of those funny little round finial
I
details.
got rid of those.
They did,
I
and
think
it
they
looks like
really
light
tried to
fixtures.
the light fixture
On
is
the
just
rails.
simple and mid-century-ish. I mean,
I sent them, I said, pick one of these.
Yeah, I would feel comfortable vote on.
Use the mini skirt.
I didn't want to ban, but there was just something odd about the mini skirt. Just a little.
I thought it was pretty mid-century modern. Yeah, I thought it was the only thing that was.
67.
Yeah, okay, in reference to.
That was a very good year.
Number 2, HR-21-05-028, to approve as submitted.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? The only thing I'd like to add for record, Connie, is that when you touch base with them, to make sure that they shouldn't have to follow the plans.
Right.
Right,
Just remember that a few times, that they cannot do additional changes unless they consult.
yeah.
That's the only.
I've actually started to
Great point.
add that in when I email these, drawings and certificates, saying something like, any changes that are being proposed to this approval need to come back to the commission, so. Whether that helps or not, I don't know, but at least it's on the record then.
Right.
Thank you. Otherwise, I have, so, any discussion? Okay, I call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
No opposition, no abstentions, motion passes unanimously. Okay. I think we've reached the end of our agenda, is that correct?
Yeah, any oral business by chance? Or?
New business is that I've communicated this morning with Megha Sinha. Her name correctly, Megha Sinha. And I expect her to be attending in the August meeting.
Oh, good.
And then I think there will be a fifth new commissioner, a planner, hopefully. Or maybe in August.
What's your background?
The second person.
Our new person.
She's an architect. I've been looking at so many different ones.
Okay.
We've got like 10 new commissioners all of a sudden.
Wow, okay.
But I'll let you know that.
Okay,
So you expect that appointment,
I was gonna have a
you expect that appointment to be on coming council, or is that already in process?
She was approved
Oh,
Monday.
Okay.
She was confirmed Monday. The next one has not been on the agenda yet. And of course, August, they were at recess.
Recess, so September.
Have to be some person.
Got it. Okay, wonderful. Item number 6, old business. I don't know of any old business to attend to, so we can move on to item number 7, which is adjournment. I will take a motion to adjourn.
I will second it.
Wonderful. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. We are officially adjourned at 5:35 PM.